Shooting Star, Daring Do, A True Love by Switch W. One afternoon, Shooting Star is sitting at his home reading the newest Daring Do book. He had been reading all the series when the first book came out and the latest. He actually adores and even eager to meet Daring Do by himself. But he actually loved reading the books with Rainbow Dash and Twilight. They actually talk about these books, about the past adventures and sort of things in the books. But what he didn't know, that Twilight and Rainbow Dash actually knew the author to the book. When Rainbow Dash mentioned this once at one of those readings together, he asked them, how did they meet her? He thought maybe that she was too busy to have any particular social friends over time. And both of them actually agreed that she is quite busy with her work as an author, but they actually mentioned that they are good friends with her, and Rainbow even mentioned that she always gets the first copy of the book before even is published into the public. And Shooting Star, he felt a little bit jealous that Rainbow, of all ponies, would get the first copy of the new book before any pony else. And he did ask if they could go to see her. Both Twilight and Rainbow Dash looked at each other and thought maybe they should do it, because she has recently came out with this new book, and maybe they could just visit her for some time, just for a short visit. But when it came to her home, she wasn't even home. There was a note on the door says that she was away for a few days, but she will be back soon. Nothing else. So Shooting Star, he went back home to Ponyville with Twilight and Rainbow. But he couldn't get the thought about something could be off. Like, he thought maybe, what if the Daring Do and AK Yearling could have been the same pony? But when he proposed this to Twilight and Rainbow, well, the next time they met, both of them laughed and tried to laugh off, saying, you must be mistaken. They can't be the same pony. They don't even look like each other. But Shooting Star would not give up. But after he talked about this, he actually managed to convince them that Daring Do is actually J.K. Yearling. And both of them then admit that Daring Do is, in fact, A.K. Yearling. Which surprised them, even that he did thought that she could have been the pony. But both of them had promised not to reveal this to anybody. And they made the same promise to him. And he did. But what if something else happened? For one day, when Twilight and Rainbow were away to Canterlot for some visit, Shooting Star, he was kind of a bit alone. So he decided to just flying around in a nearby area just to get some fresh air to clear his mind. But he couldn't stop thinking about Daring Do. So ever since he actually started reading her books, he had fallen in love with her. Even as he believed that she was just a fictional character, that she is a very brave, loyal, most like that Rainbow and Twilight. But she's much more. She's more braver. She actually put her life in danger all the time in order to save ancient artifacts to be stolen and sold on the market. But when he found out that Daring Do is in fact as a living pony, he couldn't believe it first. He was thinking about her when suddenly he noticed he actually been flying to her home without even noticing it. And he landed, knocked on the door, and she opened the door. And she asked him who he is and why he was there. He told her that he is a friend of Twilight and Rainbow and that he knows about her secret. But he hasn't told any pony about that. And she looked at him. She pulled him in and saw that he was actually an alicorn, a male alicorn. He looked around in her home, saw tons of papers, a few artifacts on the bookshelves or on the open fireplace. He even recognized some of those pictures of ancient part of history. And he then noticed a paper on the table. It was actually some sort of document. Not like a map, but it was more of a historical document. And he asked, "Where did you get that?" And she tried to hide it. "That's nothing to worry about. Are you looking for a treasure?" And she looked at him. "No, why?" she asked. "Because that mentions the lost treasure of, well, Princess Platinum." "How did you know that?" "Well, I can read the language," he said. "It turns out this is a very old dialect of Old Ponish, and even Derindu had a very hard time to even translate it. She admits that she has been unable to translate all of it. Perhaps maybe a few words have been able to translate, but like treasure, Princess Platinum, but that's all." And she asked him how he could know the language so well. And he told Derindu that he actually is over 1,000 years old, the same age as the Luna and Celestia. And he has been reading a lot of things or documents in that language, and he has even he spoke a few old Polish dialects. So he offered her if he can take a look at it, so he maybe can help her with the translation. At first, she was not eager to do that. She thought maybe he was just playing as a joke or something. But after that he actually confirmed a few words in old dialect, which she had been able to translate. "Okay, then translate the rest of this meaning." "Alright," he said, and he took a look at the paper or listed document, and he was silent for a moment. He put his hoof around the paper, a little document, and slowly went through all the text. Well, and from what I can confirm, this is actually a genuine document from Princess Platinum's time when after the foundation of Equestria. But at least from what I can stand it, this was actually written sometimes after Kate and Celestia and Luna took over as their royal sisters. And as before Princess Platinum decided to step down and became just a regular noble pony, she hid a big treasure somewhere in Equestria before she passed away. And according to what she said, she put away 2 chests with gemstones, gold. But another one was, that's very curious to me, but from what I can see, it said something of papers, documents, or some sort of things. This could mean, if these were actually documents around the time of the foundation of Equestria, they could be priceless. They could be actually pictured about more details about the ancient society, how our society developed from that point and further on. Did it mention exactly where it was buried or hid? Somewhere in close by in the seems in the see northern mountains, almost like in it sounds like in the Crystal Empire area. But it doesn't mention that part. But it means at least in the high mountains top in a deep cave, I sent two of my best ponies to hide my treasure in for future generations to be found. Only then can they be found by any pony. So it doesn't exactly mention where. No, exactly. If we did that, ponies would probably found the treasure by now. Only that it is on deep in the mountains, in a deep cave. Only that in the part which. But it did mention you have to cross a big lake. Then you will see the mountains in a distance. There, somewhere, you will find the cave. Both of them talked about this, and then the next, Jerry started packing a backpack with some tools, ropes, and supplies which you could need. Hey, if you're going to find this treasure, maybe you need my help. Why would I need your help? I was just going to find the treasure. Yes, but if this treasure is hidden, it wouldn't surprise me if Princess Platinum had told her ponies to hide them somewhere in the cave with behind some perhaps false traps or perhaps some sort of false rooms with false treasures. Because in the metro document says the text that each chest is marked with the royal signature, or at least the royal part of the royal name of her family name. And if the opponents, and this also seems if the document is written in the old dialect, it wouldn't surprise me if the chests are written in old dialect as well. So if you find the treasure and this open a chest and it turns out to be nothing else rather than rocks or something, worthless things, how do you know, how can you detect part from the treasure itself? And then, who knows? Maybe you have to give an order to those ponies to make some traps or some sort of fail-safe measures, like if someone will try to take the wrong treasure, the entire cave could collapse over them. And Daring Do then realized he had a point, because all of the treasures she had been found in old temples and sort of things, they had always had some sort of protection things in order. Alright, you guys came along with me, but we had to go now. Alright? But before then, they just stepped out of the house. You know, it will take days for us to go there. I can take a shortcut. What kind of shortcut? Well, stay next to me so I can just get us there. And she did, and he teleported them both a long distance, but only maybe half a day left before the lake. How did you know exactly where to go? Well, I guess because it was the only big lake which I know it's this one, and there are mountains in the region. So that is the only thing I can tell. But since they were only a day before they arrived to the mountains, both decided to put up camp because it was already getting dark outside. And around the campfire, both of them didn't say much. They just ate on the food, and Daring Do, she was actually reading the document over and over with help from Shooting Star's translation. She wanted to know exactly if there were any other details that hasn't been mentioned, or if they have forgot, or, well, if they didn't read all the details closely, because they just want to know, just in case, if there were any unforgotten traps in the documents mentioned about. But there were not so much the details about the traps or anything. They were not mentioned any of the traps, except that only the two time can only tell when they will be revealed. But that was not much as a trap. But otherwise, during the time when they were talking, Shooting Star then asked, "Are you seeing any Sun Pony?" And Shooting Star looked at her. Guarantee she didn't didn't know what to answer. She actually looked at him with surprise. "Why do you ask that?" she asked. "Well, I just wondered, since you travel a lot and you write your books, so I wondered if you had any time between that seeing any particular pony." But Dude didn't actually answer on that question at first. But then she said, "No, I'm not seeing anyone. Cause, like you said, running books, being an adventurer, treasure hunter, it takes a lot of time. I have barely any spare time at all afterwards. The only time I have is when I just relax at home. That's all." "Well, you should perhaps maybe give some time to sing some pony, because who knows, it might make you feel happy." "But who will love me? I mean, I'm barely home. If the pony I would probably at first tolerate me being away for so much, but they should also know that since I am being an adventurer, I would be off way much, perhaps from days, perhaps even weeks. One time I was away for nearly 2 months from work. And my friends or family would at that time would not perhaps even would understand that. Nevertheless, any pony would probably leave me because of lack of the distant time." Shooting Star realized she had a point, and he noted the same thing. He has been alone forever. He has never been on anyone's special zone pony, but he has been on dates with Fluttershy, Twilight, on a few times, but he thought maybe one of them could have been his special zone pony, but it turns out it wasn't the way he thought. "Well, you see, after that Twilight and Rainbow told me about you, and I had to be honest, I had a crush on you for at least a number of years now. At least at first, at the beginning, I thought you were only a fictional character, only like made up. But after that, Twilight and Rainbow confirmed that you were actually the whale pony. I couldn't even believe it. At first, my head was filled spinning around, round and round. I was like, "I'm on top of the mountain!" and deepest hole in the ground. And sometimes nowhere. Daring do. She had no idea how to respond to that. You really had a crush on me?" "And I still do," he said. "Wait, are you in love with me still? Would you even be with me even if we wouldn't see each other for days, weeks, or perhaps even months?" "Of course. I understand how much you appreciate your work, how much you really love your writing your books, your adventures. Even if we won't see much each other for weeks or months or perhaps in a year. Even if you send me postcards or letters just knowing how you are, I will still be with you." That surprised her. I have no idea what to say," she said. "But how do you know if I can be your right one for you? What about somebody else, like Twilight or Rainbow? Rainbow is a brave pony, and she's the one of the fastest flyers in Equestria. And Twilight, She's a fast flyer and she's a very skilled unicorn, an alicorn. She's a princess. You're a prince. You two should be working better together. Then you should focus on a royalty rather than and just simple treasure hunter. But Shooting Star shook his head. You see, I don't care if you're not royal or noble or just a simple treasure hunter. To me, you are a treasure. Unbelievable or the most precious treasure that have ever been. Your eyes are like stars in the deepest darkness. Your heart is like a fire in a burning volcano. And your bravery is like a tornado or a hurricane that never once stops. Hearing those words actually touched her, and for the very first time in her life, no pony has ever been that much in love with her. Well, I don't know what to say. Don't worry. I understand if you don't want to be part of it with me. I understand that part. Don't worry. After being around for 1,000 years, I have been getting into some knowledge of that, and I'm get used to it. Even if I had been dating a few mares in the past, I understand if that sometimes the relationship doesn't work out, or if there's a particular if the other pony doesn't have the same feelings back to me, and or vice versa. I mean, you never know. And hearing those words actually touched her even more. And for the first time, she actually smiled at Shooting Star. We should probably go back to bed to see we are going up early in the morning. Alright, you'll put out the fire and I'll see you tomorrow. Daring went to her tent, but Shooting Star, he didn't have any tent with him. In fact, he just slept on the ground next to the fire, and the next morning, both of them had an early breakfast and talked much about the mission, and after that, they just went straight to the mountains, to the lake. Alright, let's see if there are any sign of this, if there is any markers or anything nearby this lake to mark exactly where it was supposed to go. Wait, a marker? Well, usually there are some markers or at least something showing the right direction, if this is the right place, or but though there has been over 1,000 years since Princess Platinum lived, so give or take. But if there should be any marker, there should be on a stone or something, because trees can, you know, fade away with over time, so stone would probably be most likely. And they looked around in the area, and they found actually a stone, only marked with like a P. And after been studying the document, they managed to see that the signature of Princess Platinum, and they matches the P on the stone, and they were on the right place. They both actually then fly across the lake, and on the side they found another mark with the same P, but on a smaller rock, which barely could see it. After nearly 4 hours of walking through a dense forest, they came to a small mountain range in a distance. So, which mountain could it be? There are at least 4. Well, if I probably say the highest, maybe. It's just a guess, because, you know, the bigger the mountain is, bigger chance to be more cave system in it. And didn't you realize that point? So both went to the biggest mountain and looked around for any sign of cave or any opening. After nearly 20 minutes of looking, they found it. So they slowly went into the cave system. And well inside, they found 3 corridors, or at least tunnels, separate ways. But they looked in first on the left, which had collapsed over time. So only the middle and the right was still open. So which tunnel should we take? I don't know. If there were any markers or anything signed that where the opponents take to the treasure, so perhaps. But before he could finish, the right one. Are you sure? Yeah, I see a P on the top on the wall there, and he points, and she could see it. So both of them weren't in the tunnel, but remember, be careful. There could be traps somewhere along this tunnel or something. And after nearly 2 hours walking in the tunnel, there were no traps at all, except for one, which turns out to be a hole, mostly a big hole in the ground, which they thought maybe they weren't anyone to force a big trap, because nobody didn't expect to find the treasure or even believe it was even there, because there were no records otherwise except from that document. And after nearly another half hour, they found a big cave hole, like a big hole. So this is the end of the tunnel in this room, but there is nothing. No chest, no treasure. Maybe they buried it. Perhaps, but the ground itself is solid rock. Unless there were unicorns who managed to bury it beneath. Look around if you can see if this ground has been disturbed or something. After looking around for a few minutes, they found some sort of impression on the ground, signs of big treasures. They managed to use Shooting Star's magic to pull it out, and it was just shallow ground. In fact, those only sort of planks, wooden planks covered by dirt to cover it to look like a treasure. And they had the same P as for platinum on every one. They opened them, and there was this 3 treasure boxes. One with gold, with silver, and the second one with gemstones like diamonds, sapphire, rubies, anything. And the third one, it was correct, filled with historical documents. Some of them were exact from the date when the Questia was founded. And both them carried all the boxes and the chests with them back to the camp, which they hid, and the next day, tomorrow after that, they went back to her home. But after that, they actually took the treasures all the way to Canterlot, where they store it in a public museum. But even after all of this, Shooting Star was about to get back to Ponyville before Daring Do stopped him. Wait! Where are you going? I'm going home. I don't know what to do anymore. After this adventure's over, so I thought maybe I was just going home. So you have forgot about the date we have? Wait, date? I didn't say, I didn't know we have a date. Well, you said you loved me, so I thought maybe we could try it and go on a date to see if it works between us. That surprised them. But I don't know what to do. I mean, would you go as you or as your, well, other self? That was something that she hadn't even really thought about. Because for the past few days, when she had, after they were searching for the treasure, she thought about this state. But now she had a point. Will she go as Aching Yearling or as Daring Do? But she decided to go as Daring Do because that felt for her as the right one. And surprise enough, Celestia had given both of them to stay at the castle overnight. And both of them actually went on a date, and really something didn't. At first they went to this restaurant, they both just talked about some of her past adventures and some other... They even talked about history, because both of them had some common interest in history, like studying about history. But it was something else they loved to talk about. Her adventures, especially the books. I mean, they love to talk about all things. And the next day, they went back to the museum to study some of the documents they have found, and even studied or even just watched this treasure they had found, the gemstones, the gold, and it was just really something unbelievable. And just shortly after all of this, Diridu had actually admitted to Shooting Star she had fallen in love with him. And he didn't know exactly what first to do first, but they both agreed to at least give it a try to see if their relationship could have worked. Because what she mentioned before, that she could have been away for days, weeks, or even months and couldn't see him. And it happened one time later on that she had to go on a mission through Saudi Arabia to find some rare artifact or his historical figure from that kingdom's past. And they didn't see each other for nearly a month. But she actually wrote letters back to him, back and forward, so at least know that she is okay and that she misses him. But then, after some time, Shooting Star and Daring Do admitted to the public they were dating. No pony could even believe it, not even Rainbow. When she found out that Daring Do was dating Shooting Star, that they did not what she expect. She thought maybe they were still just good friends, but when they both came out to the public knowing they were dating, she took it very surprisingly. But he was really good friend of both Daring Do and Shooting Star, and just accepted it. But then, one day, it happened. Shooting Star and Daring Do were at home, just talked about something where to do. Like, wait, are you going on another mission? But you just came home only 2 days ago. I just really saw you. I know, but this is a mission I have to go. This is a very rare opportunity to me to study some of one of the rarest artifacts that have been found in Meritonia. Some of them are nearly 500, nearly almost 1,000 years old. They have never been allowed to be anyone to study. I have been given the rare access to them. But how long will you be away? He asked. Maybe 1, 2 months. It depends. But you really just recently came home. Are you really going away so soon? But you said you couldn't stay. You can't wait as long as it's possible for me to come back. Yes, I said that. Yes, I promised you I would. But I've been seeing you as much. And you saying this relationship won't work? I'm not saying that. Well, there's some indication you're saying that. And they continue and continue. Well, if you don't say want to see me anymore, just leave. Fine, I'll leave. And don't talk to me again. And he left. And the next day after that, Daring Do left to be in Meritonia. When Shooting Star came back to Ponyville, only the same next day, his friends asked him how this going between him and Daring Do. But he said, I don't know. She's away on her history. She is on a mission at the moment. I don't know if I want to see her anymore. We kind of had a big fight, so I don't expect she will see him anymore. So after 2 months, she came back home, and she was expected to see Shooting Star at least maybe a few times after that, because she wrote him a letter, but he didn't answer. He wrote a second letter, but the same thing. But now, she wanted to get to talk to him. So she went to Ponyville and disguised as A.K. Yelling just to see where he could be. But when he went there, both Twilight and Rainbow asked, "Didn't you know?" "No, what?" she asked. "He said he doesn't live here anymore." "What?" "Yeah, he moved away from Ponyville about, could have been 2 days ago." "Wait, where?" "I have no idea. He just took his backpack and or his saddlebag and just left, middle of the night." She didn't know what to do. "Is there anything you can do? Like leaving a message to him so that he can find him?" "Well, you see, before he moved here, he traveled a lot in Equestria, so I don't know if we're able to find him so easy. He can be anywhere. He can even have left Equestria for good. He can maybe have moved to, I don't know, Crawfordstone, Dragonlance." "Don't say that, Rainbow. You know that he wouldn't do that," he said Twilight. But hearing those things really break her heart. "Wait, are you talking about Shooting Star?" said Spike. "Yeah? What do you mean, Spike?" "Well, he isn't that far." What do you mean?" "I know where it is." "Wait, you do?" "Yeah, he's a sweet little bakers." "Wait, he is at Applejack's farm?" "Wait, how do you know that?" "I saw him yesterday." "Wait." The others just looked at each other. "Are you telling the truth, Spike, or are you just saying this for just messing with us?" "No. Here, I can show you." And he took them to the farm, and surprised enough, he actually was there. It didn't say he didn't actually move. He just wanted to leave for some short time to clear his mind. There was something on his mind that he wanted to do. He wanted to ask Derindu to marry him, but he was just scared how she would react after the big fight, and even she wanted to say yes or no or even talk to him. After that, Shooting Star saw that Derindu were at the farm. He took a deep sigh and one talked to her. Both of them talked and talked and talked, and then both of them could forgive each other. And then he did something that no pony would expect to do. He actually proposed to her, which she said yes. She was so happy to see that he was actually going to stay with her. And in fact, the wedding was going to be held in Ponyville only 2 months later, and they had asked Twilight to perform and Rainbow to be Derindu's bridesmaid and Big Mac to be Shooting Star's best man. And even after all of this, both of their relationship remained strong. And they even went to Las Pesos for a whole week for honeymoon. But there was something that they didn't expect to happen. Derindu had decided to move from her home to Ponyville, where she still worked as the author, as A.K. Healing, and in secret as Derindu on the missions. But then something did happen. Only 3 years later, Derindu found out she was pregnant with twins. She in fact had twin daughters, which Shooting Star didn't expect, and one was a surprise. One was a Pegasi, and the second one was an alicorn. But only then, when the twins were 6-year-old, they had a third child, a son, who also became a Pegasi. And both of them agreed they wouldn't that if they hadn't went on the mission together, they would never have admitted a true love for each other, and most of all, would never had found the true love and got a family together. Both agreed that there was a mistake to have that big fight. If they had never talked to each other after that, they had been never had found their admitted true love forever, and even got missed a loved family together. During Do continued to do her missions even when her children were still young. During Do knows that Shooting Star would took care of them, and he did. And he even told them about their true mother's identity as Daring Do, and that she is one of the greatest treasure hunters in the Equestria's history. And of course, they all loved to read her stories, even when before they were even published. And that's how Shooting Star and Daring Do for the True Love got a big family. The end.